Alrighty, so today we're sitting down for another one-shot review, and the movie that I watched today was Used Cars. Used Cars is a comedy that stars Kurt Russell as well as some other characters who both sort of factions in this movie lord over used car lots. It starts out with there's two brothers, each of them owns a car lot on the other side of a big street. And the one brother is very successful and he has this big state of the art car lot with all these really nice cars. And the other brother, who is the boss of Kurt Russell's character, is, the type of guy that owns a used car lot where, like the opening scene of this movie, he's like turning back the odometer and he's like putting gum on a bumper to try to get it to stick up and trying to sell the car that afternoon and that kind of stuff. So just two different types of car lots completely. One's trying to get away with selling lemons. The other one is the real deal. But this story follows the, I guess, goofy happenings of what happens between the main conflict is that there's going to be a highway interstate built that goes right through one of these car lots. And the rich brother has done everything he could to try to pay off the mayor to get him to put the highway through his brother's car lot in order to make his lot the best lot in the South. But what has happened is, despite all of his bribes and all that kind of stuff, it didn't work out, and he had to put the plan to put it through the richer brother's car lot. So then it flips to now this rich brother is trying to do whatever he can to get the other brother's car lot across the street. So much so that he sends over a young guy to mess up his most famous prized car that he has, even though he just put it for sale, I guess. But he sends over a young mechanic to basically ride around in it like it's in a derby, and that gives the older brother a heart attack, and he dies. One thing that I always think is interesting in movies, especially at this time period, is that everybody that's got a heart condition has like little pills that the second they take it, they're like all of a sudden good. This guy as well. And they always keep them in a different container than the actual pill bottle, which might be a movie related thing because they don't want to show the actual pill bottle for some reason. But like in real life, the cops will say that, if you're just carrying loose pills on you, no matter if they're prescribed you or not, you get arrested. So that's just, there you go if you didn't know that. But I just find that interesting, kind of funny to be honest. But so the one guy dies, right? But Kurt Russell does not want the other brother to take over the lot, and he wants to keep selling cars out of it. I mean, really, he wants to become a senator, but he needs to make enough money to be able to pay off the politicians to be able to be the guy who's going to become the senator, and so he needs the car lot open for that purpose. So in the beginning, they are doing all these things to drum up business to sell more cars while they have the old guy basically dead, stashed out back, trying to get the brother, basically make it so he doesn't find out, so that he doesn't inherit the car lot or anything like that the other brother wouldn't want. And then once, there's a twist in the movie a little bit where the guy who's passed away, his daughter, who's been estranged for 10 years, comes back, and she would be the one to eventually inherit the lot, given there's no issues or anything like that. And so, it's just basically, it's a absolutely goofy, raunchy, definitely raunchy, borderline sexist at parts, comedy that follows the story of the other brother trying to get a hold of the lot, and then at one point even get the niece, his niece or his brother's daughter, arrested so that he'll get the lot, and then all of their little goofy wacky things they come up with to either to drum up business or to screw over the other guy or to solve the problem. And it's just that type of movie, if you know what I'm saying. So some of this involves all the way of like like hijacking a sports broadcast to do their own commercial where they're hiring strippers to, you know, show off the cars, and then all sorts of ridiculous stuff happens. But there's also an angle, the pretty funny angle in this where the guy who's like his right-hand man, Jeff, is extremely superstitious. And so throughout the whole movie, he's like, he doesn't drive red cars. Red cars are all bad. He's like rubbing his rabbit's foot. He's like dumping salt everywhere because it's unlucky at one portion of the movie. It's just, it's really funny. So, you know, there's not a whole lot to talk about this movie because it plays out like any other sort of like one-shot comedy film does. But I will say that this movie is surprisingly pretty goofy and funny, and I had a good time watching it. So that being said, you know, I don't really have, you know, well, let me do this. What are some things I like about the movie? I already said I liked kind of the, that it's goofy, it's a little bit outlandish, and to play into that a little bit more, there are all sorts of little Easter eggs that they drop in throughout just to give you little giggles. Like, for example, sometimes they're panning the camera over, you could catch something real quick that's really goofy. For example, there's this judge that everybody's calling the hangman, and while he's explaining the crimes, or he's like kind of challenging one of the witnesses on stand, he's literally walking his fingers up a model of a guy hanging and then, you know, letting him hang, this little action figure dude. And it's just like little funny, goofy stuff like that. It is, you know, like a little bit definitely sexist at portions. Because I don't know when this movie was made, but definitely back in the day, if you get what I'm saying. But you know, I appreciated the comedy. I thought it was pretty funny. I do like the angle of our main characters, our heroes, being these crooked used car salesmen trying to get all these lemons off the lot, and we're rooting for them. That's kind of funny to me, to be honest. And then the way that they solve many of the problems in this film is very creative and kind of silly. So, and you know, in a way, it was almost like the dominoes were all put in place throughout the movie for the big solve at the end. So, you know, in that way, it was kind of a cohesive film, and it was fun too. So, you know, if I have to rate this movie out of 5, I think that while I do think it's a really funny movie, and I enjoyed watching it, and I don't think it really has too much going on against it. I just think that, you know, it's nothing crazy. It doesn't hit up into the, you know, the 4s for me at all. So, but I would watch it again, you know, with friends and stuff like that. So, you know, I would recommend anybody, if you have access to this movie in some way. I actually don't think it's on streaming, so you might only be able to watch it through a disc like this. But if you have access to this movie, absolutely watch it. It was a good time. It was goofy. It was funny. But I think the score it gets is a solid to strong 3. Made me laugh, was pretty funny, but, you know, somewhat forgettable in the grand scheme of things. Nothing that I'm like dying to recommend to anybody. So, but I do appreciate that it was recommended to me and I had the ability to watch it. So, that being said, that's Used Cars with Kurt Russell. I thought it was pretty good. I definitely recommend everybody give it a watch. We gave it a solid to strong 3. And that's the review. Like, comment, and subscribe if you feel like it. If you disagree with my opinion on the movie, feel free to comment down below and let me know. We can talk about it. But that being said, that's the review, and that's the video.